Well, it's official. We're Naples bound. All 12 spots have been secured here in year 5 of the FBU National Championship. Neil Sika with you in New Jersey. We've got Alan Papadine's National Scouting Director, Youth1.com, in just a matter of moments as we'll set the table on the final 4 matchups. That'll be December 19th. That's a Saturday. The championship game's on ESPN3 on Monday, December 21st. Well, 2 finals to tell you about first. That'll be in the West, out in San Leandro, California, just south of Oakland. The 8th grade game, Las Vegas. This team is 7th graders last year. They showed a lot. Lost in the regional final, though, to Oregon by 28 points. Little restitution tonight. They beat them 29-27 in a wild affair in the 4th quarter. Lead changed hands a couple of times, and Vegas had to recover an onside kick to preserve things late and then fight off a last-second Oregon charge down inside their 30-yard line. But Micah Bowen's a big game. He had a touchdown rushing, recovered a big fumble late. Jalen John, Silas Starr, they had amazing runs, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, as well as that entire team. But they go out 2 points shy of trying to get back to the national semifinals. 7th grade level, Seattle, they had no problem. They crushed Los Angeles. In fact, that's Pop's top seed out there in the 7th grade West. 49-0 the final in that one. Big game from Blanchero, the quarterback, as well as the rest of the characters that have helped Seattle shut out every opponent they have played on the road to the national semifinals. So with that, we're going to go back to the 8th grade. We're going to talk about these national semifinal matchups. Pops is waiting anxiously. He's going to pat himself on the back because of all the seeds that he had predicted getting down there. I think the lowest you had was Broward County in 7th grade being the 3 seed, but a lot of 1s and 2s, and a good weekend for you, but a good weekend for youth football in general, because we're going to have some great matchups in the national semifinals, buddy.
Yeah, we are, and for sure, everybody likes to be told good job, and I'm happy I did well, but this isn't about, predictions or anything of that nature. This is about great football, the kids doing what they're doing best, showing out on a national stage, and getting ready for the best tournament in the country when it comes to youth football.
Yeah, the premier youth football tournament in the nation. Year 2 in Naples. Speaking of the teams going to Naples, let's talk about Las Vegas, this first matchup in the national semifinal, which pits the West against the Plains. So Vegas' reward, you get North Texas, who's trying to make history, becoming the first team winning it at the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade level. They've looked unstoppable, but how about this Vegas team? A credit to them beating an Oregon squad that had been there 2 years prior at the 6th and 7th grade levels. This was a wild game back and forth, but they close it out. And Oregon, I wouldn't say they looked a little vulnerable last night against Sacramento, but it was a little too close for comfort the way they finished that game off.
Yeah, last night they were winning big, and then they just could not put Sacramento away. Sacramento battled back, came down to under a minute left, and I don't know if that was a little bit of foreshadowing of Oregon not being able to finish the run here. But they certainly had their struggles last night. And who knows, fatigue could have played a factor in today's game as well. It was less than 24 hours since that marathon game with Sacramento.
All right, so early thoughts on this matchup. North Texas has just stomped over everyone they've played, but Las Vegas has looked pretty good and has some weapons on that team that might make things interesting.
Yeah, Las Vegas is no slouch whatsoever. I mean, 2 quarterbacks, Donovan Smith, Micah Bowens, have both had great tournaments. Xavier Ragsdale as a running back, he is a bull of a running back, 2-time FBU Youth All-American. On the offensive line, Las Vegas has 2 FBU All-Americans as well, and Hayden Angle and Jordan Butler. So, I mean, they got stars over there. It's not going to be like North Texas is just going to roll over them. That said, North Texas, they have just looked phenomenal. This team, somehow they get better and better each year. They add pieces, change parts, throw in some things here and there, and North Texas is, again, spectacular.
And, of course, the cornerstones remain. J.J. Jackson, Cody Christ, Kevin Schumann, the quarterback, Mickens at the defensive side of the ball. They are loaded all over the field. It's going to be very interesting to see the game plan Las Vegas comes up with come December 19th. All right, Pops, let's take a look at the other semifinal matchup. It's mouth-watering as well. In fact, you could really make the case in 2013 when Maryland and GFL played in that national semifinal, which GFL won 10-6. you could argue it was the best game we have seen in the FBU National Championship throughout its 4+ years. And I would think that the one we have in store December 19th could be just as good.
Yeah, this is another game with weapons galore, linemen galore. These teams are extremely, extremely evenly matched, in my opinion. Both got some big beef. Both got a lot of defensive linemen that are fast, that can get after the quarterback. And the skill guys is like, all-star after all-star after all-star on both sides of the ball and for both teams.
Well, we're 8 days away from the national championship game, but early thoughts. Who do you like in the 8th grade to get it done? What do you like in terms of the championship matchup, and who wins it? We'll talk more about this, of course, in Naples.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is a week out now, but if I had to guess, I'm going to go with North Texas taking on GFL in the championship game, and ultimately, I think North Texas makes history.
Okay.
I think they're loaded offensively, and for all the reasons we've talked about, players that we haven't even mentioned. Will Harbor, middle linebacker, is an FBU All-American.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned his name since the previous shows. So that just shows you how much talent this North Texas team has.
Yeah, we did. You just mentioned it now, Will Harbor. No. One of many good players. And, of course, GFL wants to make a little history of their own. They've got 2 8th grade titles. Nobody has more, trying to add a 3rd. All right, let's take a look at 7th grade now and the national semifinalists. We're going to start and go east-south. That is the pairing there. Maryland 7th graders, their offenses look spectacular and have just blown by the competition. So they're in the national semifinal. And here's Broward County. 6th graders last year got down there. 7th graders, not too far of a drive. They're in the national semifinal. Talk about offensive weapons. That is one that has a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. First I'll take Maryland. They got an FBU All-American quarterback in John Griffith, leading the offense. They have a bunch of different weapons. Your Reggie Proctors of the world have caught a bunch of touchdown passes and runs. Zion Larkson's on the outside. Today, we talked about in the previous show, Joe Burns stepped up out of nowhere, 3 touchdowns for him. There's a lot of guys that want the ball and know what to do with it on this Maryland team. And then for Broward, they had a war today with GFL. I mean, they pulled it out in 1914. Fantastic youth football game to watch. Vadiato, a quarterback, is making a ton of great decisions with the ball.
Yeah.
He has the familiarity with Vincent Davis and with Jaden McBurrows there, his 2 buddies from the regular season. So you got that going for you. And then you mix in Amari Daniels, the power back who has run over everybody. You got a lot of weapons on this Broward team, too.
7th grade, the West Plains semifinal features Seattle. They haven't allowed a point. And then DFW, their first appearance, Dallas-Fort Worth, a couple of good running backs in the fold. And we talked about them a lot last year when they were 6th graders.
Yeah, this is going to be the matchup of the semifinals, in my opinion. Out of all the grade levels and all 6 matchups, this is going to be the game to see, in my opinion. You got Seattle with Julian Simon and that defense who hasn't given up a point, running clock before halftime in each game they played. And then you got DFW, Preston Stone at quarterback, Stacy Sneed, Magic Rector. These are all names that you've heard if you've been following the tournament, and it's going to be 2 contrasting styles meeting up with each other. Seattle is a physical, punchy-in-the-mouth type of team. DFW's got speed and athleticism for days.
So your early thoughts, who meets on December 21st, and who's winning the 7th grade?
It's a very tough one. I'm going to go with Maryland taking on DFW, and I think DFW takes it.
Okay, interesting. DFW there for the very first time. They fielded a team in a sense of where they're formed now, just a couple of years ago in 2013. And keep in mind, in 2011, as 8th graders, there was a Dallas-specific team that made the national championship game and lost to Central Florida. Down to the 6th grade we go, and let's take a look at the national semifinal matchup. That will be in the East and the South. Those teams, those winners coming out as regional champions. We see Indiana. They're back there again. And it's not just Chris Thomas like it was last year. They've got 2 great running backs. And now you look at a Broward County team that continues to produce young athletes at the 12-13 age level, playing good football and playing basically in their backyard in that first national semifinal.
Yeah, and I think both these teams are going to match up against each other nicely. Indiana will definitely have the size advantage over this Broward County team. However, I think Broward County has the advantage with the quickness and speed. Obviously, you look at what Indiana brings, and they got some big kids with Newton and Tracy running the ball hard. But then you have Broward with the speed of Teron Dickens, a quarterback who's a dual threat. And you have a bunch of the other guys that run the ball, Terrence Miller, Jacoby Spells. These are all guys with some speed and some good quickness.
West and Plains National Semifinal. The regional champion there, Seattle. It was a tough game, a victorious one in double overtime in the rain. Tough to start in the early morning out there just south of Oakland, but they got it done against Orange County 6-0. And here's North Texas again, and they've looked pretty darn good at the 6th grade level, too. The next line of stars, if you will. Remember, they won the first ever 6th grade national championship in 2013. So what are your early thoughts on this matchup?
As we talked about in the afternoon show, I don't know. I still don't know. I've been racking my brain what to make out of that Seattle 6-0 win in double overtime today. That weather, it was monsoon. I'm telling you, the rain was coming in sideways at the beginning of that game. So that definitely had a huge factor in the game. But nonetheless, Seattle, regardless if they won the game 100-0 or 6-0, they shut out Orange County in the semifinal. So that defense is no joke. And then you talk about this North Texas team. This offense has been clicking nonstop this tournament. They have a bunch of different people that can make plays there. You're talking about Keandre Hollywood. You're talking about DeMarcus Kirk. You're talking about, I talked about him on the previous show, Quinn Ewers at quarterback. I think the next big tournament, next big star on the quarterback position in this tournament. So you have the high-power offense in North Texas and the Seattle team that shut out their way to the finals here.
All right, so who do you like in the title game? Who do you like winning it all?
That's a very good question, Neil. Very, very good question. I'm going to go.
We're going to ask it every day until you come up with a different answer, right? To appease the audience?
Well, I have to change my answer, maybe.
Probably.
Just kidding. I would never do that. Never do that. I'm going to stick with Broward defeating Indiana, and I'm going to go with North Texas beating Seattle. And then in the championship game, I think North Texas takes it all. I don't see anyone beating that offense.
North Texas, Seattle, Maryland, and Broward each have 2 representatives among the 3 grade levels in the national semifinals. So we know where the good work is being done. But a great tournament overall. We saw a lot of surprises. Some teams that hadn't had a lot of success in the past advance, win a game, perhaps 2. Rhode Island, that was a great 6th grade story. So through the first 4 rounds, we saw a lot of good football. This tournament continues to get better and better. Year 5, and now it's on to Naples.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that I want to drive home, or what stuck out to me, was people coming in out of nowhere, kids from all walks of life. There's no reason, if you're thinking, traditional football states, there's no reason Rhode Island should make the Sweet 16. There's no reason South Dakota should advance.
Sure.
But these kids do, because they believe in what they're doing. Their team directors are setting it up right. The kids are getting to camps. They're doing the little things that's going to help football in general improve.
And you're dialing the area codes of those states when maybe you didn't think you were going to when the tournament started, writing more articles, right?
Absolutely. It all leads to exposure. You impress people on this national stage, things are going to change for you. Eyes are going to be opened, and that's what this great tournament is a platform for that.
Well, come midweek, we will be both down in South Florida getting ready for the national semifinals, the championship games, which are on ESPN3, and we'll interact with our audience and look ahead to these matchups and what to expect as the week goes along. But had a great crew here in Jersey putting these shows together. Want to thank them and thank the audience for watching as we get ready for year 5 down in Naples.
Absolutely. Another year. Can't wait for football down in Naples, Florida.
That's Pops, Alan Popovines. Thanks so much, buddy. We'll see you in Florida.
Sounds good, man.
All right, and everybody, thanks for watching our recap shows through the 4 rounds and our great crew here in New Jersey on the road to the 2015 Football University National Championship. I'm Neil Sika. Good night.